This is Dirshu Amud Yomi Gemara Shabbos Daf Hey Amud Aleph. I'm holding on the very bottom of Dalit Amud Beis. We're looking for whom is the Tana of the Mishnah that does not require an Akira or a Hanacha on a Makayim of Dalit by Dalit. And it suffices even if the object is not placed precisely on an area of Dalid by Dalid, but even if the item is placed in someone else's hand, still it is called an Akira or a Hanacha. So we finished the previous year saying that this is Shitas Rebbe, as Rebbe held that if you throw something, Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, Be'emsa, says Rebbe, I should say better, Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah, Be'emsa, says Rebbe, Klu Tekemishon Chadami, times 2. And therefore you're chayiv twice, that there was a Hanacha in Rosh Hashanah, and then an Akira, and back Hanacha again. Asks the Gemara on the last line of Dalil Mebeis, Ha'itmar Allah. But we learned on this. Rav Ushmol Damar Tevayu say Rav and Shmuel as we turn to Heyamad Aleph. Rebbe held this only works if there's a roof on the Rishos HaYachid. Damrinan, why? Because Rebbe doesn't just say Klu Tekemishon Chadamya. Because Rebbe holds Beisa Commandem Al Yadami. Because we view the house as if it's full with items. And therefore when this thing comes through the window, it's as if it's sitting on something and then exits. But if it was not roofed, then not. So where do we see a makar that Rebbe's going to hold? There's no din of Akira Nacham on a makayim. Dalid by Dalid. Maybe you're going to suggest maybe the din in the Mishnah is also on a roofed area. So I understand the Balabais is in Rosh Hashanah. It makes sense. It has a roof. But if there's a roof on Rosh Hashanah, would one be chayiv? Amar Shmuel bar Yehuda, Amar Rav Abba, Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav. Ha'ma'avir chayvetz arba amos Rosh Hashanah mekoira pater. Why? Because the whole root of where we learned that Eitzah from is the encampments of Klal Yisrael in the Midbar, and therefore, if it's Mekairah, if it's a roof, it's not the same thing, or therefore there's never be a Chiyuv. So says the Gemara, Ella Amar Rav Zera. And of course we know anytime that we have this Ella means it's a noob shot. So rather attempt number 3, 10 lines down, Hey Amid Aleph. First word in line is Lediglei Midbar. Who is the Tana of the Mishnah? Ella Amar Rav Zera Hamani. Who is the Tana? Achirim. It is Achirim. Titanya Achirim Oimrim. Someone throws something for Amos in Rosh Hashanah, someone else catches it. If the guy standing in his place and catches it, Chayiv, the one who threw it, is Chayiv. But if the guy catching it is moving, then Potter, the one who threw it, is Potter. Says the Gemara, why is this true? If he's standing in his place and he caught it, he is Chayiv. Why is that? I throw an item, you're standing in your place and you catch him. You're not dalid al dalid, so why am I chayiv? Ela shmami, no, what do we have to say? Loi bina makam arba. Says Mara, but no raya. But the manachuz labin, not kirbin, is only right on nacha. What about the Akira? And it continues the Gemara. And even the Hanocha Nami. Tell the Pasha Kanfe V'Kibla. Maybe the guy who caught it spread out his, his jacket, and he caught it. Tika Nami Hanocha. Therefore, there's a Hanocha of Dalad al Dalad. So Amar Rav Abba, a fourth potential shot in the Mishnah. Masnisa Nami She'amar She'okar Mitraskal. Case the Mishnah we're going to have to explain is that you didn't just pick up the object from nowhere. You picked it out of a basket. So there is a hanacha from a makkah dalid al dalid v'nicha gabi traskol, and he put it down in a basket. Dikanami hanacha, both of them are from dalid al dalid. What's the obvious kasha? The Mishnah said that you placed it into his hand. The Baal Bayis put it into the Ani's hand. The Ani put it into the Baal Bayis' hand. So what's going on over here? Answers the Gemara, you got to add a word into the Mishnah. Tani, Traskol, Shebi, Yadei. No, he's holding a basket. Hani, ask the Gemara. Hatina Traskol, Rishayachid. I understand that a Traskol in Rishayachid is considered like the Rishayachid, like the Baal Bayis, and that half the Mishnah makes a lot of sense. El Traskol, Rabim. But if the guy, if the Ani in Rabim is holding a basket, then the basket gets its own din of Rishayachid. Why? Because if the basket is 4x4 tefachim and it's not sitting on the ground, so it should have its own rishos. So then how do you have a case of the Mishnah of transferring from Rishos Yachid to Rishos Harabim? Lema, shall we suggest the like Rav Yisrael Rav Yehudi? Sag Rav Yisrael Rav Yehuda Titania, smack in the middle of the Amid. First word in line is Rav Yisrael Tanya, we learned in a rice. Rav Yisrael Rav Yehuda, Imer, no, it's gone never Rishos Harabim. So put a pole in Rishos Harabim, V'zarg v'nachal gabav, and he throws an item and it stands, and it lands on the, I skipped a critical line. One more time. No, it's kind of Rishos Harabim. Uberoishai Traskol. And on top of this pole, there's a basket. And then so it comes to Zarach and he throws v'nochal gabov. Chayiv. The halacha is like your chayiv, that the basket has the din of Rishos HaYachid. Tig Rav Yosi Rav Yehuda. Now, so what's going on in our Mishnah? If our Mishnah is Yehuda, Bashal Bayis says Yadulachotz, V'naslach Yadul Shalani, the Baal Bayis sticks hand outside and puts in the hand of the Ani Amay Chayiv. Was put in his hand. So says the Gemara, this is the problem. You want to explain that the case of the Mishnah is talking about where he's holding a basket. So very good. Inside the Baal Bayis holding a basket. So the basket is the same din as own Rishos Yachid. But a basket outside should retain a din of also Rishos Yachid. Therefore, when the Baal Bayis inside sticks hand outside and puts it in the basket, there's no din of transferring from Rishos Yachid to Rishos Harabim. Says the Gemara, I feel the you did. No, we extend Israel you also the Malam Sarah over there in that brisa, because the basket was on the pole on top of 10 tefachim. That's why it was his own rishos. Hachal lamata may asara. Says the Gemara, Kasha le Ravua. Ravua was bothered. Mika tani traskel shabiyadai. Vayadai katani. It says Ravua, this whole pshat. Pshatol in the Mishnah. Putting the word traskel, says Ravua. This is not simple. So Elam, Amar, Ravavua, Teretz number 5 comes on Ravavua, about 20 lines on the wide lines. First word in line is Avua, in which he's put his hand lower than 3 tvachim, put his hand on the ground, and accepted the item. And therefore, it's considered as if the item is resting al gabe karka, and therefore that's the reason there's anach al gabe dalid al dalid. Asks the Gemara, Viha oimed katani. But the Mishnah said that he's standing. So if he's standing, how can he tell me his hands within 3 tvachim from the ground? Says Gemara, he bends over. By saying another shot, Beguma, he's standing in a pit, and therefore his hand happens to be within 3 tvachim of the ground. By saying bananas, we're talking about a midget. So 3 Ukim does as to how we can explain that we're talking about that his hand is within 3 tvachim from the ground. Amar Rava, Echbal Tadal Ashira Kolani. Says Rava, the Tana had to say a whole Mishnah for this convoluted case of a midget or a guy in a pit or a guy bending over his hand on his ground. It's just neged aseichel, says Rava. Ella, my Rava. A 5th and final shot for the Mishnah, Yad Shel Adam. The yad of one's hand is considered chashuva loy ke'arba al arba. It's as if it's a 4x4 tefachim place. V'chein ki asur Rav Rav Yechon Yad Shel chashuva loy ke'arba al arba. Amar Rava, and that's really final shot in the Mishnah. 5th and final shot that your hand itself gets a din of dalid al dalid. Amar Rav Avin, Amar Rav Eloi. 12 lines of the wide lines. The first word line is Amar Rav Eloi. Rav Avin said, Rav Eloi, Rav Yechlan Zar Chavetz v'nachmatach shel chaveiroi. So it throws an item and it lands in his friend's hand. Chayiv. The guy who threw it is chayiv. Says the Gemara, "My kamashlam, what's the chiddush? Like arba al arba. Rav Yechad already taught us this chiddush that the guy catching it is considered like he's daled al daled." Answers the Gemara, you think you think maybe it's only considered such a hush of a place where by putting it in, you showed you want it in his hand. So maybe only in that case does he get a din of Dalit al David. But maybe if he didn't Badavka put it in there, then it's not considered Dalit al David. That's the second chiddush of Rav Yechon. And one more din for the day. Amar Rav Avin, Amar Rav Eloi, Amar Rav Yechon. Excuse me, probably two more dinim. Amar b'mekayim v'kibel. Someone throws an item up into the air. Someone else catches it. Then, in what case is the thrower chayiv? Amar b'mekayim v'kibel, as we explained in the Mishnah. If the guy is standing in his place, the catch get chayiv. Akar b'mekayim if he moves v'kibel potter tanam yachi. Chayim Ramin Amar v'kibel chayiv akar b'mekayim v'kibel potter. Bayi Rav Yechon. Zarak chayfetz. Someone throws an item in Rosh Hashanah, and he goes and runs. He throws an item up for tfachim, for amos, and he goes, runs, and he catches it. What's the halacha? Says Gemara, what's your question in the first very wide line? You did an akira, you did an anacha, so of course you're chayiv. The shaila is, can one person attain the two opposing forces? Is it called one person chayiv, and therefore you would have a akira anacha, the same person, and be chayiv? Maybe it's considered like two different people, and therefore you would be pater. Says the Gemara, Teiku b'siyata shmayam. Coming on Mashiach, we'll have to get an answer from here. Pick it up from here, Amar Rav Avin, and the next year b'siyata d'shmaya.